What up out there, YouTube heads, travel wolves in the building. So today we are going to do a very special video dedicated to a YouTuber who calls himself Starbull, or as I like to refer to him as Starbull the Perfidious, okay? Because that's what he's doing. He is just bearing false witness like it was a thunderstorm. I can't understand why. So I'm gonna go over some things about him that I find very offensive, and I believe him to be an alleged Hispanic racist. I'm gonna go over all of that for you in this video. So for those of you who missed the live, I'm doing this again because yeah, you guys are right, the audio was terrible, plus the light was bad. I gotta have good light on a brother. So, okay. So first, like I said, I'm gonna tell you the story about how I got into all of this, because originally I just wanted to make content to sell shirts, polo shirts, for fat guys, to look nice, to compete with body game and handsome game out here in Pattaya. I just wanted you guys to look good and, you know, be able to compete, because what can you control? You can control your wardrobe. And so that's all I was doing. And one thing led to another. Some hoe ass ninja sent my video to Tom Yum that I did about looking for girlfriend in Pattaya, Thailand. I don't know what that was about, but I was just sharing my experiences about being here. And yes, you can date women here, okay? Thai men date women here. Foreign date women here. African-American men and black men can date women here. It's not all that reputation. If you tell a girl, if you tell a woman, would you like to come hang out, or would you like to come over for fun, that's what you would say. But a lot of you guys don't do that. You just jump right into the deep end, and that's what you get. But a lot of the girls you see that I dealt with, I said to them, hey, come over for fun. Let's hang out. Nothing more than that. So, and they can always decline, and they can say whatever they're going to say, and I have a right to say, nah, I'm good, you know, and go talk to somebody else and ask them the same question. But if you only jump into the deep end, that's what you're going to get, you know. So let's get that out there. Not every woman is a 304. So anyway, I did those videos. They sent them to Tom Yum. Tom Young immediately was coming with the smoke, and then, no, I didn't know anything about this. It wasn't even my reality. We already talked about this. Me and him talked it over, and that was the end of it. So I thought. Then he went back to his routine, and the other dudes that he was going after, Richie Mack, Game Abroad, they were playing the art of war. They were being evasive. They were eluding, you know. They were just hiding. And so then he came back at me, and I was like, what's that about? So then I said, you know, I need to sit down and really talk to this guy, see what's going on. Because this is what you do if you're in the game. So understand, we have a person who calls himself the Travel OG, and the Travel Original Gangster, and we have someone who calls himself Game, and they're not behaving in the manner of the esteem of their monikers. Just like we have this guy, Starbull, who's not behaving in the esteem of his moniker, and I'm gonna go into all of that. And we're actually gonna strip him of his name today, of his namesake. He's lost the rights to that. But, so anyway, me, I go by Travel Wolf. Well, I've always been Sigma male. People don't know me as Sigma male, but I've always been Sigma male. So if we go into the wolf hierarchy of things, there's Sigma wolves. I'm a Sigma wolf, just Travel Wolf, right? So, and I live up to my namesake as a Sigma. So, anyway, I saw him and I said, let's sit down. I initiated, I invited and everything, because this is what you gotta do. You gotta sit down with your rival, with your adversary, eye to eye, mano a mano, with your enemy, mano a mano, and talk about whatever it is. If war's gonna follow, war's gonna follow, you know, but you gotta sit down and talk to the person. at least for introspectiveness. Maybe it might be a message that you're not paying attention to in what they're saying. That can help you sometimes. Got a crazy story about that. But anyway, that's how I think about life. So I'm not about to evade people and elude people when they mention me directly. So that's I'll go with the point of this video. This guy Starbull is doing way too much. He's crossed the line. It was comical, it was entertaining. I have a sense of humor. Ha ha ha. It was funny. But then he just starts crossing the line, and I gotta tell him that's it, So anyway, so then after I sat down with Tom Young, which I believe is the proper thing to do, now I start getting videos made about me by this guy Starbull. And I'm just like, where is he going with this? And he starts telling Tom Young that I'm not tested, as if I'm supposed to be tested for something I don't know what. And I'm not it, and all these mischaracterizations about me, yada, 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 yada. And then he goes in again recently and did it again. When he was talking about someone else, he still brought my name into his argument. And he referred to us as dealing with Richie Mack and being broad and everything and eating bananas, all kinds of weirdo, goofy shit. And I was like, this dude is really nuts. But more importantly, he's a false witness. And he's bared false witness on me twice. So what can I do about that? Well, he talks about being in the army. So I know he knows this metaphor. The United States of America, it deals with threats every day. You don't even know half them. Not even 3/4 of them. The only time it really addresses something is when it's a catastrophe they can't cover up. But when they do address it, because it's that bad, they say, you have now invoked the full weight and might of the most powerful military in the world. And that's what I'm saying to this guy. You have now invoked the full weight and might of one of the most intelligent people in the world on you. And you don't want that. Don't want that at all. So Proverbs 19:5, King James Version, says, a false witness should not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies should not escape. Okay? That's Proverbs 19.5. Everything's going to be in the description box for you to review. So now we're going to get into this guy, the alleged Hispanic racist, formerly known as Starbull. Now, I've been researching his name, his moniker, what he calls himself. And I got to say, it's a couple of things. It either has no specific meaning, or it's his birth month, which may be April or May, or he's referring to himself as the highest Taurus as aligned in the constellations. But I think it's the first one. I think it really has no specific meaning. And because of that, I think he's a trickster. He's a trickster. He's definitely bearing false witness. He's a trickster. He's not a triple agent. He's a quadruple agent. He's actually working for Richie Mack. It's diabolical. I like it though. I like it. So, but because you're such a clown, you can no longer be called Starbull. Your new name is Memphis. I was going to call you Alpha Tori, but you don't even deserve that. So your new name is Memphis. And so henceforth, his name is Memphis. He's been stripped of that. That's his penance for bearing false witness against me. Because again, as a disclaimer, I don't know this guy. I don't know, his name is something Rivera. I never met him, never been acquainted with him. He's never been in the same bar as me. He's never eavesdropped on my conversations. I've never seen him before in my life. I can't think of where he would get these characterizations from about me. There's few people who can even speak about me, and he's not one of them. It's one and a half person, and he's not one of them. He doesn't even have enough hours to talk about me. He doesn't have enough hours to know me personally to talk about me. Therein lies the real problem with them. And we're going to get to that also. Why is he like this, right? But there was a story I uncovered while researching him in more detail than just being subjective. What he's doing to me is just subjective, right? It's not even good criticism, because every criticism has to end with a solution or an alternative. And he doesn't have a solution or an alternative for anyone. He just criticizes, runs his little trap. And he's making judgments about men in a manner that females do. Females make these type of judgments about men in that way, subjectively, right? That's something that women do, and it doesn't really work for them. So a woman makes a judgment about a guy because of his physique, and he ends up mistreating her, treating her bad, hurting her, and she goes and does the same thing again and again and again, and it's like, well, does it work? Does making subjective judgments about people work? Or would it be better to be objective about a person? Because I know being objective about a person works. I'm not going to go into all that because I don't have enough time to do all that today. That's months and months of school to help you understand the difference between subjective and objective. So there's a story, though, that I did find. It's about Zeus. Zeus disguised himself as a bull to have an extramarital affair. And I thought to myself, that's interesting that he calls himself Starbull and he's in Pattaya. Is he having extramarital affairs? And what does that mean? Well, in our reality, in another culture that we had before this one that we are in now, the woman that you shared your bed with overnight, the community and the village recognized her as your wife the next morning. There was no weddings, there was no marriage licenses, none of that crap that we do today. Because technically, you know that you only are married when you have a license. You gotta get a license, right? They go to the courthouse, pay a fee, they do the service, then you actually have the real ceremony later. You guys do know that, the ones that have been married, right? It's like, come on, man. So, but that's what it was. That was the customary way you were married. So, women are women. And wherever you go in the world, you're going to meet women who are not in the lifestyles that you're going to connect with. And sometimes you're going to cross the line with a 304. You're going to go over the line with a 304. Now, I think subjectively what happened was this guy was in love with the girl, they call her Lucky. I think he was in love with her. And she wasn't going to be that for him. And he's watching her be that for somebody else, and it pisses him off. That's why he sounds bitter. That's why he's the way he is, okay? But that had nothing to do with me, homie. So you need to talk about that guy all day, every day. Be obsessive about them. Get off my dick. And you need to talk about Richie Mack all day, every day. Be obsessive about him. Get off my dick. That's how I know you are quadruple agent. Acting like you're down with Tom, but you're not. Okay? I know what you're doing. Because sometimes you just got to sit and be still, as you say. Sit and be silent, right? You don't know nothing about that. You're not a stoic. You're not a stoic. Give it up. Stop being something you're not. You probably did laundry in the army, and you're trying to act like you're like fucking Rambo and shit. Just give it up, homie. Stop. So, now why do I talk about extramarital affairs? Well, this guy, we're going to call him Memphis from now on. This guy likes to use a lot of biblical passages. And he's way misinformed, and the ones he used are irrelevant to what he's really saying. But he doesn't want you to know that because he's a trickster. But I have a person in my life who is very well astute, and I learned a lot from him. And I have my favorite parables: Deuteronomy, Psalms, Judges, Exodus, Nazarenes. Get you some here. So, what you got to understand real quick is that African American and black people are cursed. And it says it right here in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, King James Version. Okay, now this is the verse that I think I attribute to Memphis, who, by the way, is formerly known as Starbull. Here we go right here. This is verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. This describes him to a T. He's definitely blind. He's beyond mad, but he's definitely mad. He's definitely blind. And he has astonishment of the heart. You can hear it in his voice. He's so bitter. The fact that he put a photo of him and Lucky together, smiling, like nobody would catch on, bro, that you was into her. You was into her the same way the game abroad dude's into his chick. Because you don't understand that emotions are a mirror. You're not really criticizing someone else. You're criticizing yourself for your failures. For your failures to get a quote-unquote 304 to be your wifey. And you're upset and bitter about that? That you failed at that? I don't get it. I'm confused about that part, but that's what's going on. Remember, you bring this on yourself. So, now, the next important thing, this is verse 30. Getting it back to the extramarital stuff, right? Thou shalt betroth the wife, and another man shall lay with her. I'll say that one more time. This is the most important thing, because this proves who God's people are, this proves who Elohim's people are, who the chosen people are, who the original Hebrews are. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lay with her. Now this goes back to our oppression, our enslavement, where you took a wife in a plantation, master raped her or sold her off, and somebody else raped her. It's only happened to one group of people in this modern era, African Americans and black people who were enslaved in other parts of the world, trying to have a continuity of family modeled after the European model of family. Remember when I told you, we used to have a custom where who we took to bed and spent the night with in our bed was our wife the next morning in the community, in the village, before all this marriage license stuff. So, you think about the guys that got women all over the world that they met in Brazil, Colombia, Thailand. And if you understand that the basic living instructions before leaving Earth is an 8th dimensional device, it's an 8th dimensional book, it's not a beginning, an end, or a middle. It doesn't work like that. It's everywhere at once. People always misconstrued this to mean you had to be married, enslaved, or some type of way cursed, and then someone laid with your wife or raped your wife, and you had to consent to it. You had to be a cuckery. No. It just means that the woman you take to be your wife, like a lot of these guys have taken women that are quote unquote their wives, someone else laid with her. And that's what everyone does. Everyone throws it in their face. Oh, I laid with her. Oh, I laid with her. Or she did that. Or she did that. Or she did that. I'm not about to make arguments for women, because that's a whole other thing. And I don't do that. I'm not that type of person. And I don't get into those politics. There's a whole other agenda and everything behind that. But that's what that means. So what the trickster doesn't want you to know is that all this criticism, all this contempt, all this venom they're spewing on us, it's because they're racist. It's racist condemnation, because you can't change what's biblical. It says right here, someone is gonna lay with your wife. They can't change that. Fortunately, there is a part of the parable where we can change that, and it's by becoming a Nazarite. But you got to grow some hair first, and a bunch of other things. But it's possible to get back into the blessings. There's a side of Deuteronomy that talks about the blessings. So there is a way to get back into it, to get back into favor with the divine, with Elohim or Jehovah, whatever you want to recognize. It's a way to get back into it. But first you have to detox. First you have to work through all the curses. And we're not even done with everything yet. Barely touching the surface. But we're getting there. So my point is that contempt for what we are doing is irrelevant, and it's driven by racism. And that's why I say he's an alleged racist Hispanic. His last name is Riviera. Okay. I don't like Puerto Ricans because they're racist, allegedly, to African Americans. I don't like Dominican men because my encounters with them have always been racist. Okay, not allegedly, just have been. So that's why I'll never go to DR. People tell me that they're different than Americans, but no, I don't see that. Because those ones used to talk about catching that plane that flies regularly between New York City and DR. They're the same ones to me. So I'm not sure if he's Hispanic or Latino. Yeah, there's a difference, but because his last name is Riviera, I'm assuming he came from a Spanish-speaking country like Spain, so therefore he's Hispanic. I don't think he came from South America, but anyway. South American country, that make him Latino, but so he's a racist Hispanic, allegedly. I'm alleging that he's a racist Hispanic, and this is why. He recently did a video where he went all in, like he literally put African American men faces on rats. Like he's calling African American men rats, and he's saying that we're coming to Pattaya. And it's only like 8 guys on the thumbnail. But to him, I guess it's a lot. And then he's saying more of us are coming. Excuse me. And we're all rats. And he's blaming Richie Mack and a bunch of other stuff that's irrelevant because all of your subscribers are not African American and they're not black. You don't know who all your subscribers are. You don't even know if all your subscribers really exist because YouTube is so enigmatic about how it works. Just know that you don't control any of the switches. They do. If they want you to be successful, you'll be successful. If they want you to fail, you'll fail. We know that they shadow ban, so there you go. If they can shadow ban, they can do everything else. So we don't know who all your subscribers are, but we can pretty much logically come to the conclusion that they're all not going to be African American. That 100,000 African American people aren't going to just only subscribe to your channel. We can pretty much come to that conclusion, right? That's pretty logical conclusion to come to. But, so anyway, this guy's out here calling us rats. And I said, you know what? That is racism 101. Because other cultures, when they have a person that they want to degenerate or make less human, they call them rats. And so I don't know if he's an African American or black man, but in my opinion, I think he's Hispanic. Definitely sounds Hispanic. And so Hispanics are alleged to be racist, very racist towards African American men. The other point of contention about this is that I went to an event. I went to a Super Bowl event, so I know the numbers. I've been counting. I went to that event. I got the photo. I counted all the black men that were there, including the other black men that are here, that are what I call the bosses. Shout out to the bosses. Salute. And then the other black men I saw at an event recently that I didn't see at the Super Bowl event, that I saw at another restaurant opening, I counted them too. So I'm thinking approximately there's 106 of us in Pattaya right now at one time. Coming and going, living, a combination of all of that, right? 106 of us. And I said to myself, that's how powerful African American and black men are. 106 of us can make someone show their worst face. Because why? Did an African American man steal his wifey? Quote unquote, his wifey? Is that what happened? How many times has an African American or black man stole a woman from you? Because that's what this is really about. This is about you getting your woman taken, your wife. You know, that's what this really is about. Or I should say, her not wanting to be for you what she would be for someone else. So you were digging her and she wouldn't stop the lifestyle for you, but she did for someone else. And that just burns you, right? Just burns you up. The pitifulness of yourself, man. So, anyway, calling us rats is not going to solve this problem. And another reason why I would say he's an alleged racist is because Now, he knows he was in the military. He was in the army. So he says he was in the army. Don't know what he did. He damn sure wasn't in military intelligence because he can't count. He damn sure wasn't in recon because he can't observe. Because if he wasn't those two, he would know that there are other men here that are here in the tens of thousands. Tens of thousands of men are here. Tens of thousands of men are here that aren't African American. And no one criticizes them. No one villainizes them. And he damn sure doesn't call them rats. So are we the only ones that are rats? What about the Frenchie, the Ferengi, the Indians, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans? So Starbull, you call them rats too? Because if you don't, then do me a favor and smack the shit out of yourself. What's your beef with African American and black men? What's your real beef? Be honest. No more of these games. What's your real beef? It's about a female. That's what this is all about. It's about one female. The one he's in the picture with. The one they call Lucky. This is all about. She wouldn't be the nice wifey for you that Richie Mack promised you. She decided to do that for what she felt was a better man. And now you just don't know what to do with yourself. It's really fucked up because it kind of sounds like someone else, but I really respect them a lot more than you. So I definitely give them more feeling about, more respect about how they felt than you. You don't get my respect because you just like to assault people. I don't like that. I don't like someone like you. You like to assault people and hide behind photos and avatars and all kinds of goofy shit, man. And you know why? And you know why he does that? He does that because if he shows you his face as he's talking, he knows that African American and black men who have nothing but experience of life experiences of racism will see him for what he truly is. You will see him for what he truly is. Okay? So, like I said, man, I'm not about to let, there's some things I won't do. Like I said, I've been in some precarious situations. And I know a clown when I hear them talking. And he's a clown. Because nobody talks about being behind bars like it's a joke. Ha 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 ha, it's not a joke. If you've done that and you survive, you're a tough guy and you never want to go back. And if you haven't been and you're talking about going, you're a clown. Because let me tell you something, I've been tortured for 8 days in a room with no windows and the light on and a bunch of other shit. And I can tell you that I realized something in that moment, that I was glad that this wasn't going to be my future beyond those 8 days. And I was glad that I did things in my life the way I did. The things that I felt I was a punk about, or I was a coward, or whatever, whatever someone was trying to put into my ear, I never let them get me. They didn't have me then. It was just a formality. Ha 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 ha. But I said to myself, I did realize that emphasizing with other people who for their whole life are measured by 3 seconds to 3 minutes. I think that's what it is to make a mistake. 3 seconds to 3 minutes of their life, of their whole life. And they get like a bunch of years. I bet they think like it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it at all. They think like, I wish I didn't do it. I wish I didn't do that, But there's no taking it back. So you got to be mindful of what your thoughts and your words are. There's no taking it back. And like I said, Psalms is one of my favorite parables. I fear no man, You should know this one by heart. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Of whom am I afraid? It's not a statement. It's a question. So unless you got a good answer, unless you're one of those archangels, you know. And so I say all this because, but one thing I would not tolerate, one thing I would never run from is racist. I'll never run from racist. I don't care about that. I'll lay down my life fighting about that. I'll lay down my life fighting for this African American men shit. Okay? I will do that. It can have my life for that. I would not be a coward. We don't come from that stock, Hispanic person. We don't come from that stock. Okay? Are you even an African American man or a black man? Because if you're not, why the fuck you in our business, homie? You know? Talking tough. But this is how racists behave. They try to kill us in the dark. The Klan, everybody try to kill us in the dark. The name calling, try to kill us in the dark. But we're not doing that. We never allowed that. And it's not going to happen now, not while I'm around. So that's what this video is about. This video is really about addressing a racist and taking away his name. So henceforth, you'll call him, he should be known as Memphis. He should no longer be known as Starbull. He's stripped of that right to come into our community with a moniker that wasn't bestowed on him. He doesn't even have the stature to name himself. So he's Memphis. That's his name. Memphis, that's his name. Like a dog with no teeth, just barks. That's what he does, he just barks. He doesn't want to sit down with nobody, talk to nobody, or look them in the eye. See, the coldest man on the planet is a man who can feast with his enemy on the other side of the table. That's how it's always been done. You look him in the eye. You gotta look your rival in the eye, your adversary in the eye. You think boxers fucking do this shit over YouTube? They do so many standoffs, make your nose bleed. You see what I'm saying? That's a cold man. That's how it's always been done. Diplomacy, as they call it, but it's really just prelude to war. It's always going to be war, homie. It's always going to be war. You're going to sit down and talk, and then it's going to be war. The war's going to end, and you're going to sit down and talk about ending the war or the next one. But it's always going to be war. That's the nature of men. That's the nature of men. That's who we are. And he doesn't understand that because he's not a man. I'm not going to say that, but so anyway, yeah, that's all I got. If you guys got any comments in the questions below, let me know. I'm just confused. I got a couple of questions for Starbull, for Memphis, formerly known as Starbull. Why don't you criticize the men of other races who are in Pattaya? You scared? You're scared of them, because I'm not scared of them. So if you're scared of them, then I know I don't need to be scared of you. So which one is it? And two, why don't you make videos where you talk? Why do we want to get to hear your snotty voice, your high-pitched voice, right? Are you a cop? Are you law enforcement? You sound like a cop. Maybe you was an MP in the army, but they probably had you cleaning up vomit and shit. I don't know, because you sound like a cop. That's why you don't show your face, so that when you sneer a couple of unsuspecting brothers, a couple of brothers who aren't tempered, who aren't that strategic, who aren't tactical, who aren't focused, who aren't precision, as myself, you can go back into your inoculated life and nobody would never know. Because we don't really even know if that's your face. Misdirection. Remember, see, like I had to share with some people, some of these guys are doing the art of war. And I'm a student of the art of war. I'm also a student of war. But being a student of the art of war is the strategies. Being a student of war is something different. but I'm a student of both. Some of these guys are just students of the strategy. So, you know, like Richie Mack and Tom Young, right? Richie Mack's strategy is to evade, elude him. Game abroad strategy, evade, elude him. Or I should say, what's the word? Deter? Not distract. I can't think of the word, but avoidance. It's another word for avoidance that starts with a letter D. But that's what he's doing. Detract. Limited engagements. if you get rolled up on, you I'll be right back. But you know, keep it moving, right? And for me, you know, I'm doing a strategy right now, as I use the biblical terms, right? I'm engaging my enemy on his field using his own tactics. I'm mirroring his tactics, right? So, but what I think is going on with Memphis is I think Memphis is a quadruple agent, which is some really devious shit, because I kind of suspect these guys are playing on a higher level than what some people don't pay attention to. And I suspect that he's really a quadruple agent. So he's working for this guy, he's working for this guy, but he's really working for these people, but he's really with the guy who's a target. So he's really with Richie Mack. But the whole point is to delude that he's not with Richie Mack, to pull out everyone who has a gripe or a grievance with Richie Mack. Okay? And remember, my grievance has never been with anybody on either side. My grievance has been with being called a passport bro. That moniker is dangerous to us. That's where my grievance has always lied. And of course, among other things. But we're going to talk about that later because there has been some changes recently. So, but I can't do that because I got to give my attention to this shit. You know what I'm saying? I got to give my attention to this. Man, I got to give my attention to this guy. You know? So I can't really even do what I'm supposed to be doing. Because a person cannot go around saying things about you that are mischaracterized. And again, this is the disclaimer. This guy does not know me. He's never been acquainted with me. He's never been an associate, a friend, or anything. Never hung out with me. Never been in the same space as me. I've never seen him before in my life. He's never seen me before in my life. He's making subjective judgments about me based on nothing at all. Nothing at all. Just doing what women do. And it doesn't work for them. It doesn't work for them. And now I have enough ammunition to go after him because he's been on my dick so hard, making video after video about me. It's like, goddamn, like, don't you got a life? Why are you on my dick so hard? And then come to find out, you like dry snitch on yourself about stuff that you've done with pornography and stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, what's that about? Why are you, like, are you a hypocrite? Are you a hypocrite too? So you're a hypocrite and a coward. I don't know, man. This is weird. This is weird, goofy stuff. But like I said, I didn't sign up for any of this. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be a good time and building constructively. So we're going to get some things established. I'm going to have to come out of my retirement as a consigliere and advise some people that, look, this is how it's going to have to go. This is what needs to happen. Because this shit is not going to be good for anyone. And we got this mad dog named Memphis running around. And he's just going to get worse and worse until he's dealt with. And I don't know how he's going to be dealt with, but this guy's mad. He's just mad. That's what he is. He's mad. And I think he's really doing this out of racism. I think he's doing this out of racism. I really feel that way because if you're in Pattaya and you really see what's going on, you know that the 106 black men are not the problem. Not even in the wildest of senses. And it's like everybody back home in the Snakes is like, passport bros, passport bros, passport bros. And they mean African American and black men. Like the 106 of us that left the country, they noticed we're missing. This is crazy. They noticed we're missing. Have you seen this shit? Nobody notices these tens of thousands of men are missing from their country. You know what I think about every day? I'll end it with this. You know what I think about every day? Because part of my profession is we think about things in relative ways. I got a funny video to show people too about that. About what happens when you don't do research and you don't plan and you don't think relatively. Is so all these guys, except for us, because we don't have a country that works for us, right? African American men, we don't have a country. We don't even have a social contract. Some black men do what we don't. All these men leave their country and they come here. And what do they tell their wives and their girlfriends and their mother? I'm going to Thailand for a couple of weeks. And what does their mother, their wives, or their girlfriends say about that? And while they're away, who are their wives and their girlfriends with? Because they're by themselves and these guys are here. Because it can't be that many unmarried men in these other countries. It can't be. A lot of these guys are married, right? There go to Zeus, becoming a bull, extramarital affairs, right? There goes that. So that's what this guy is an avatar for. He's an avatar for supporting extramarital affairs. But at the same time, he's projecting contempt onto African American and black men, and we're not having extramarital affairs because it's biblically spoken that we would have a wife and another man would lay on her, would lay with her. So that's our exemption. That's all I gotta say, man. I'm out. Talk to you guys later. Peace.